Well, let's talk about farm-to-table gruel, AEW Dynamite in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Worcester, by the way, do we have, before we get to the numbers, do we have a crowd? Did anybody was there a crowd there?
Actually, I do have
Of any
something
kind?
here, and this is
Was this the Worcester? Was this what's the name of the building there? It
the
wasn't
DCU
Centrum,
Center. The DCU Center is what it says
that's
here.
one of those new places they've built in the last 40 or 50 years. I haven't seen those.
Well, I have information here from WrestleNomics as well as WrestleTix, and the last 3 shows in the market for both companies. April 15th, 2022, SmackDown, 6,738. 7/27/22 for Dynamite, 6,143.
Comparable.
October 2022 for SmackDown, once again, 6,261.
About the same thing they'd done before.
And AEW Dynamite, April 3rd, 2024, 3,252.
Ouch!
All in the same building.
About half of what they did before.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, what's the numbers? Certainly they're up this week with the appearance of Will Ostrich and Mercedes Moan, and Okada went back to Japan, so he's collecting whatever. If he's a couple $1 million, he's collecting 50 or 100 grand a week to stay home.
Well, you can't blame him. That was the offer that Tony said. He goes, I can go work for WWE and move to Florida, or Tony will give me all this money. I got to fly to Japan for a month. Jim, and there's a truck or something in the background. It'll pass. AEW Dynamite on TBS Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, 8 to 10:05 p.m. On average, 752,000 viewers.
Oh, boy, howdy. What happened there?
And for the record, this is up 1% from last week, which was 747,000, and it is 4% under the trailing 4-week average of 781. Everything is trending down. The crowds, the ratings, everything.
So that was not an anomaly last week. It's the start of a fashion trend. Let's not watch AEW.
Well, Jim, let's go to these trends right here.
Did they start lower? Did they start significant? Did the air come out of the Big Bang?
I would have to double check. I almost think it may have been around where they started last week, but you may remember better. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. These are compiled by WrestleNomics. The Adam Copeland live rah-rah promo, followed by Powerhouse Hobbs versus Will Ospreay. 933,000 viewers.
That's about where they started. That's about where they've started numerous weeks and still stayed above 8.
Quarter 2, 8:15, 8:30 p.m. The continuation of Hobbs versus Ospreay with picture-in-picture ads, and the post-match with Don Callis, followed by an ad break. 761,000 viewers.
Oh, there's what's gonna happen. That's not normal. I can't do this math. 130, 160. Wait a minute. 139 and 33 is 172,000 people after the first 15 minutes.
You have to think, even if you were tuning in, that Edge speech may have run some people off just because it went on for a while, and what was it? It went nowhere.
It was frantic, almost. Kind of panicked. Please don't pay attention to the burning deck of the ship.
It almost was like a plead for people to please, come on, I'm here. Yes. You like me?
I'm telling you. So that, and Will Ospreay.
And by the way, Tony Khan was asked today on the media call for the for something or other about the CM Punk comments. He won't comment on it. So
he can't comment on the comments?
No, he can comment. Tony is scared to comment on anything that doesn't portray everything in a glowing light, and it's hard to do that when someone else is telling the truth. Jim, quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Bryan Danielson versus Lance Archer with picture-in-picture. 756,000 viewers.
Oh. Bryan Danielson's one of their big names, but...
No, he's not.
Well,
on paper, he should be. They booked him like shit, and now he's meaningless. Now he just works long competitive matches with everyone. So Bryan Danielson means less than he ever did before in AEW as far as being a draw, because you've seen it all already.
Remember when he was giving those great live interviews in the ring, and we were like, "Oh, that's," and you never hear him speak unless it's a pre-tape or,
He did those great interviews for a few weeks, and then he disappeared, and then he was a babyface, and then he put him with the Blackpool Combat Club, and that was it. He's just been in limbo ever since. Nothing happening. Quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m., the ending of Danielson versus Archer, an ad break, the Chris Jericho Hook ramp promo, the Shane Taylor Promotions backstage promo, and the start of Billy Gunn versus Jay White.
Phew.
743,000 viewers.
Ooh. So what we've done here is we've lost 190, right? 933 to 743, 190,000 people in 1 hour.
That's right. And again, a lot of people are telling Tony that nothing's being done wrong. Ratings are down for everyone. Don't worry about it. They're not helping Tony. They're denying the reality, which is he's doing a horrible job as being a promoter and a booker right now. Quarter 5, the big 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m. The continuation of Gunn versus White.
Was that a continuation or was it a fucking evisceration? I've never seen a motherfucker get beat so bad. He was beaten like he owed Billy Gunn trans.
Well, it also had picture-in-picture ads, and then a post-match with the Guns, the Acclaimed, or just that, the Guns and the Acclaimed. The Young Bucks' best friends backstage angle, followed by Willow Nightingale's ramp promo.
I believe I zipped through that. I saw them and didn't bother to watch it.
Yeah, I must have missed that too. I don't remember what that is, but then the beginning of the Nightingale promo on the ramp, 780,000 viewers.
So they picked up 37,000 at the top of the hour. Brand new shot at retaining these people, new viewers. Let's see what they do from here.
And how would you run off the audience if someone said, Jim, run off the audience as quick as you can? You put the women and the Young Bucks out there.
And that's what they did.
Quarter 6, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m., the continuation and the appearance of Mercedes Moné during the Nightingale Stokely Hathaway Statlander ramp promo, an ad break, and the start of the Young Bucks versus Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta with picture-in-picture. 697,000 viewers.
Oh my God. It's hard to deny that the Buckaroos are a ratings drop, and it's hard to deny that the general women's segment and the second part of the show is a ratings drop. But when you put those two factors together, they're unstoppable. People can't stay. You could tie people to the fucking television, they wouldn't stay.
This is only going to get worse. For those who don't realize it, the more you put the Bucks out there, they're not going to ever cause more people to tune in. They chase people away. The women's division, the same thing. Jim, quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The continuation of the Young Bucks versus Cassidy and Beretta, the post-match with Chuck Taylor, an ad break, and the start of Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May. 711,000 viewers.
So they got back 14,000. So, should we give them a round of applause for that? They're 222,000 down for the show.
But wait, there's more. Quarter 8, and I remind you, we have it says here 6 minutes, it said before 5, but a 6-minute overrun. Quarter 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m. The continuation of Rosa versus May with picture-in-picture ads. Penta El Zero Mieto's backstage promo. And the start of the Swerve Strickland Samoa Joe Live contract signing.
For the main event of the upcoming pay-per-view.
655,000 viewers, as well as the low in the key demo of 278,000 viewers. 6-minute overrun, continuation of the angle, 708,000 viewers.
Oh boy, howdy. So, in regulation, not counting overtime, they lost 278,000 viewers from the start. Is that what, did I do that math right?
Well, taking out the first quarter and the overrun, 729,000 is the average.
So that's their new Their new base audience this week is 729, taking out the artificial insemination of the beginning and the overrun at the end.
One or two things, because it's not, just two things being equal because of the differences in the shows and differences in the audiences, but NXT is one or two things away from passing AEW Dynamite in the ratings. They're always in the sixes. AEW is coming there to meet them. AEW Dynamite's ratings are coming to meet Rampage and Collision.
You know what? That is actually a wonderful olive branch for AEW to offer. Hey, we'll meet you in the middle. If you can't get any more viewers, we'll run some of ours off. That way it's more competitive.
Listen, no star power. I think Will Ospreay, who I've enjoyed in the ring, and I think the fans like him on the promos, I think he can be a star. He has not been presented well as a star in AEW so far. Adam Copeland, again, he returned to WWE. They thought we have another main eventer coming back in Edge. The fans really didn't see him that way. And now he's in AEW. The enthusiasm's obviously down. And he gave just a rambling, sweaty, almost like, he couldn't think of what to say. And the mic started going dead. Just that segment was death. Danielson means nothing right now. The BCC and the booking have killed Danielson. Billy Gunn versus Jay White was the 9 o'clock hour match. Someone just said
the 9 o'clock hour was the biggest quarter number, except for the open.
It was.
And to see Billy Gunn beat the complete teetotal shit out of
Chris Jericho's dead on arrival right now. They're going to drag Hook right down with him. There's nothing they could do that will repair that. The women's division, they spend whatever amount of money on Mercedes Monet.
Murnau?
Mercedes Mermaid.
F.W. Murnau's third wife.
Mercedes Mermaid. And they spent all this money. People are like, oh, they'll give more time to the women's division now. Why would you? Why would you put more time into something that always makes people leave the TV?
Well, she can't fill 2 minutes of time without going blank. Speaking, why would you give her more time?
How far is Boston from Worcester?
Oh God, nothing's far from. Is that the one that's like Springfield is 50 miles or whatever? Well, it's not that far. Nothing's that far up there.
Just
like
because
it is in normal states.
They drew that good house in Boston for her debut. They're in Massachusetts. You would think there'd be some kind of rollover or something.
Well,
4 weeks ago.
Well, but wait a minute. That was her debut, and it was in her hometown. Have you been Boston traffic? Not a lot of people in Boston are going to Worcester to see their goddamn kids graduate college, much less to see Mercedes come out and moan again. So I don't expect a lot of crossover there. But what reason? I bet people in Boston, except if they don't watch the TV, they didn't even know this show was taking place because of their promotional efforts or lack thereof for the live event portion of these things.
Then you got the Bucks versus Best Friends. The Bucks are dead. The Bucks drive viewers away. The Bucks cause people not to want to watch the show.
Now, wait a minute. Do not single them out when everything you just said applies to the Puddin' Gang, too.
Well, you know what? I don't think it applies to the Puddin' Gang because I think they're not entities. Orange Cassidy's different than the rest of them because he's been pushed all over the TV. The other two are just bodies that are there. Orange Cassidy, even if you're a fan of his, I'll give it to you, even if you're a fan of his, the law of diminishing returns. Why would anyone after 5 years still want to see this guy? They don't. The women's match, and then Swerve and Samoa Joe's angle. Swerve was the hottest babyface in the company a few weeks ago. Does it still feel that way? Does it still feel that way to you? That he's the hottest babyface and the one person there who has something happening, something going on?
I love the idea of doing an angle at the contract signing to heat up the pay-per-view main event, but at the same time, again, like we said earlier, when he gets beat up and bloodied and then gets up defiant, signs the contract in his own blood, and then the heel comes in and just lays him out again, they went one step too far. That's how they cool people off.
And that's AEW Dynamite. So where's the star power that's going to help them? Where? Jon Moxley's been off TV for a while. He'll probably reappear after the tournament. That's not going to help anymore. Those days of Moxley really being a help and a mover are done. MJF? If done right, and MJF return can mean a lot, here's the problem. Who's he going to work with? Who? You got Adam Cole. He's still getting ready to come back. Nobody wants to see Adam Cole ever again at this point in time.
That's a tragedy how they presented him in that whole Black Scorpion fiasco.
Kenny Omega, they brought up his name on the last several episodes. Kenny Omega is one of their top guys in the history of their company. And now we're hearing that he is probably going to have an operation on his intestines. He ain't coming back anytime soon. Ibushi, he's been a non-entity in AEW.
Wait a minute, no, remember, he's comfortably laid up with double ankle surgery.
Right.
And going to be out for at least a year.
Well, he's not going to be there for a long time, but even before that, my point was he was a non-entity. They signed him and made a big deal out of him. He looked awful in the ring and the fans didn't care. Tony's now saying he's going to be in there with every free agent that becomes available. All he could do is throw money at them, because if you want to be treated seriously, if you want good booking, if you want structure, if you want the ability to rise up, momentum to be captured, what show do you want to be on right now? You know, there are two ships that go in different ways. Bad.
It didn't have to be this way. All he had to do was recognize that you can finance whatever you want and be a hero if you don't sabotage it at the same time by doing multiple things that you don't have the experience or the capability for. There's a difference on it, and impressing your friends with your E-Fed booking and doing a national TV show in an NBA arena. Fuck. How did anybody not see this from the God? That is what I saw from the start. And nobody believed me. And $150 million or so will delay the inevitable for some time, but it's still a guy that won't listen because he thinks he's an expert and has never done this before and shows no capability to learn if anybody's there to teach him, or if he gets to be petulant if anybody criticizes it, or just if he doesn't listen.
See, that's the problem right there. The people that Tony turns to, the people that he wants to hear advice from, the people that he's been reading for a long time, that he turns to hear what they say, none of them have helped him. Because, again, if you're pretending that Tony could fix things and that the problems aren't Tony, if you can't acknowledge all the real issues, you're part of the problem. And these are the people Tony turns to. Tony wants to hear what Meltzer is going to say, or how Meltzer is going to word things, or all these things, and then he runs with it. Meanwhile, look at The Observer. You want to talk about out of touch? The Observer is a dying thing. People don't talk about it. People don't subscribe to it the same way they used to.
Well, and it's Dave has to blame himself because of his behavior over the last few years and just this ridiculousness of defending, Mount
defending the
Suribachi
person who he has access to. Defending the person he has access to. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's dishonest, and it's been wrong. And Tony's problems are his own fault, but it's also the fault of the people that he's been listening to who won't just tell him that he's not good at this. Those are the ratings.